All of this Michelin EWXC Racing action is proudly brought to you by Rekopane Landscaping and Expert Mining, in association with Enduro World, Titans Racing and Nucleus Mining Logistics. We're here locked and loaded at the second round of the EWXC's. Heidelberg going to be hosting us, and they have had a ton of rain in the week building up to this event. The pros are going to go out this morning, and the weather looks, let's call it, changeable right now. It's certainly going to be muddy, certainly going to be slick. Traction is going to be an issue, but it may come down a little bit later on in the day, which will cause mayhem for race number 2. We're good to go, getting ready, and we're going to go walk in the pits and see who's turned up for the show. Heinrich, second round of the EWXCs, and I know you run good at Heidelberg. You must be feeling good here.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I see this place has got some rain over the last few days. It's pretty chilly out here, and yeah, I reckon we're just going to all have fun and let's just go and hit it.
Do you change your setup when it comes to conditions like this? I know there's only so soft you can go on these tyres.
I do. This is a bit bumpy. It gets a bit hard on the hand, so I go a bit softer on the clickers, front, back. Rebound a bit harder so I can get the full stroke of the suspension, and yeah, that's basically what we do here.
Not too long until we go national racing as well, so I suppose you're building up your program at the moment.
Yeah, I am. Training flat out for the national, getting support from Rockstar Husqvarna SA, and yeah, super excited for the rest of the year.
Elru, opening round of the season 1 month ago, but you've been training hard. Tell me what's in store for us here at Heidelberg.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready, and the terrain's definitely on the right thing for me, what I wanted to do. Yeah.
It's been raining in the week coming up to this race, and it dumped on us yesterday, so it's definitely going to be muddy. Are the rocks going to have some traction for you?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something different, not like the first race, but yeah, it's definitely something I can do, and I'm going to try and do my best to.
Kirky, you took a bit of a beat at round number 1. I know Heidelberg is your town, though. Tell me about today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We had a ride here the last couple of weeks, and it's great terrain. It's a great venue, so yeah, hopefully we do a little bit better. Ewan's on the gas at the moment, so he gave me a proper hiding. So hopefully we can still get a podium position today. It's a full class. I think there are about 27 guys riding, so it's going to be interesting. Weather conditions are fantastic, great environment, and we just hope it's a safe day.
Talk to me about the weather though, because it hammered down yesterday.
That's absolutely been mad the last week. I was a little concerned because when it's wet it makes it properly tough, but today it looks like it's going to be dry, and I think we're going to have a good day.
The pros would be the first to find that out. The morning session, race number 1, was all about the pros going out. They would have the wettest conditions, and the pro categories, especially the pro elites, would be setting the track ablaze. But up in the mountains, they'd be dragging all that mud from the lowlands up onto the rocks. That was going to be the story of the day. The lowlands already testing the riders as they went out the queue. Going anti-clockwise this time around, it was going to be interesting to see how the track would hold up and how the riders were able to develop as the day went on. Predictions were that the pro elites would be out there for a big 5-lapper. Andre, Heidelberg, classic race venue. This is where you ended off your championship last year. It's round number 2, but it's going to be different conditions today, eh?
Absolutely. It's rained most of the week. Well, a little bit of rain, then we had a massive downpour yesterday at about 11. So yeah, there's a lot of water coming out the mountains. Luckily the rocks are a bit coarse, so this traction shouldn't be an issue out there.
Tell me about the entries. Good numbers at round number 1, good numbers at round number 2 as well. We've got good traction.
Absolutely loving it. So I think the guys want to get out, they want to race, they're scared it could all be taken away from them in a few days' time. So yeah, they're out here, they're supporting us. We hope we put on a good show for them and hope everyone has a great time.
Talk me through the loop. At the end of last year, we ran what looks like the other way around. Tell me about the course today.
Correct, yeah, we ran the other way around. Some new sections, some old sections. We start off in the rocks a little bit, then we have a sort of a fast flowy section, guys can get their breath back, then more rocks climbing up the hill, up and down the hill, then a faster section on top, so the guys can breathe again, some easy riding, then coming down and finishing up a very nice little slippy slide section here before the Michelin arch.
You know, I like to hit you. What's your predicted lap time?
I'm going to go with 37 minutes.
Let's see how close he gets to the marker. The pros out there on lap number 1. Heinrich was running the numbers with Ryan Sequeira, our reigning champion from last year in the elites. Those two broke away from the pack in the early stages, but the chase was going to be on for Dwayne Kleinham's. Also, watch out, because we saw some really good numbers coming in from the rest of the pros, and they were in good shape. But already you could see that that black mud was getting dragged up onto the mountains, and mistakes were happening. Sure, the rocks would dry out later in the day, but for now, it was an issue.
Taking a breather.
Yeah, a big one.
Bit tougher than expected.
Yeah, but
Slippery.
very slippery. But good.
Enjoy.
Challenging, you know. I'm enjoying it.
Taking a bit of a breather. Studying the lines.
Yeah, I haven't improved since the last one, man. You had me on there. I haven't got any better.
Long day.
Nice. Hey?
How's your race going?
Oh, it's lekker.
Love all those reactions up on the mountain. Some people smile through it, some are simply trying to catch their breath. These are the guys that cracked their way inside the top 10 for the stack gate of the Masters. Darren Green on the 551 doing a nice job up in the mountains, and the track did dry out towards the last couple of laps for these guys as well. Remember, these guys only actually go out there for 2 laps of racing. Chris Mortimer having a bounce back race after problems in the opening round, so good to see him getting the job done there. Craig Nicholson rolled out the big brand new 333 gas as well. It was box fresh when he pulled it off the bucky in the morning session, and when he loaded it up, it was slightly more worse for wear, but nothing a little bit of wash and clean couldn't get dialed in for the next round. Inside the top 7 this time was Etienne Esbag, and he did a good job. The track had a lovely split. He had some good flow in the lowlands, and then in the mountains, it was really, as the guys like to say, in your face. No rest at all, and you had to carry that momentum the whole way through. Henlo Meyer had some problems up on the mountain, but when he got his traction going and the momentum moving forward, he was in the zone and got himself up inside of a number 6. The man that was definitely on paper one of the guys to watch for the championship, but this year he is getting beaten up on the numbers. Otto Hollacher walking away with the number 5 spot this time around, getting beaten out by Peter Abramser. Abramser, now a championship player for sure, inside of a top 4. And then there was a breakaway ride happening. In the early stages, Hollacher, Rowan van der Westhuizen and Kirky were teaming up, and then the split started to happen. Kirky walking away with a 3 spot, an incredible ride for the Vans Racing Husky of Rowan van der Westhuizen on the mountains, pulled away from Kirky, got himself some clear air and walked away with a 2 spot on the day, getting himself ready for the rest of the championships throughout the season. And as he did in round number 1, Ivan Roux for Rekopane Landscaping hammered the field completely. That's 2 for 2 now for the big guy as he rocked his way all the way to another sprint win. That's a win at round 1 and 2.
Hoe gaat hy so ver?
Last market.
You feel a bit lost.
Yeah, I'm looking for market.
While Ivan was making it look good, a couple of guys were still bleeding up on the mountains. Moving forward then into the senior pros, another big gate as well. There was around about 25 guys in the queue, so making it into the top 10, again a big brag. Thibaut Mahalik was the first of the double digits, then first of the single digits was TD Monroe. Now TD knows this terrain like the back of his hand, but on the day really battled with the morning session, could not get the hookup.
Tired.
Hopefully.
Enjoy.
João Ashadina getting the job done on the Roost KTM squad. Roost came in with a big fielding at this round as well. This is their training ground, so expect to see a lot of the Roost boys doing a good job. 7th place ride, and good to see him back racing with us full-time once again. Luciano Grelen out there for the Raceworks KTM squad, inside of a number 7 ride. When he's on it, Luciano can run well inside of the top 5. For now though, there seems to be a very deep talent pool running out of the seniors. Johnny Viviers inside of the top 6, consistent as ever, always brings the A game, and he'll be adding up his points now. Good run at round 1 and 2 for him. At the end of last season, Vinny, that's Vincent Labuskakny, was rocking one of the older machines out there on a very old CR250 that I think he'd big board at the time. Now he's gone old school as well, one of the older model KTMs, looking comfortable in a 5 spot. A former national champion in the senior ranks, great to see Wazza back on the hill. The famous number 100, Warren Barwell, back on it. Not at full race pace yet, but even at half race pace. Wazza getting a number 4 ride going. Also riding out of the Rekopane Landscaping squad, Jeff Patterson walks away with more points on the plate. He'll be adding these up. Remember, it is just a 4-round championship for the EWXCs, so Patterson in good form right now. This was also the return to racing for Whitey Oosthuizen. Whitey is a championship rider for sure, and he only got beaten out by one rider on the day, and this was his comeback race as well. So it was 2 for 2 for Ronald Venter, the man that broke out a freshie for this round as well. He did actually have some suspension issues on lap number 2, but it didn't matter. He had put the hurt on lap number 1, and he ran off into the distance. That's 2 for 2 on the championship tour now for Ronnie Venter, riding out of Expert Mining and the Roost KTM. In the high schools, great to see what these guys can do. And for me, the high schools is such a cool category. A lot of talent coming out of that as well, and this is where they really start to plow the fields and get themselves ready for the rest of their racing career. Danny de Toy inside of a number 10, chasing down on Timothy Barnes, and then Carl Groenewald getting it done inside of a number 8. There was big splits though. The guys that ran inside the top 5 were a long way ahead of the rest. Tyron Peltzer was on the 333 getting the job done inside of a number 7, but remember, these guys had a slightly longer day at the office for some of the age group categories. Owen Sequeira getting the Sequeira job done out there as well, trying to chase his way up inside the top 5, but top 6 is where he is for now. He's got a little bit of room for improvement, but still showed good form and pace up on the tech zones in the mountains. So inside the sweet spot for the number 5, the 507 in fact of Matt Battersby, doing a good job of the season as well. Seems to be putting in the training every single weekend, and he is one of those high school racers riding out of Bikers Warehouse that gets better as the season gets longer, so watch out for him to break a top 3 as we close in on the end of the season. One of the most butter smooth riders out there and an absolute joy to watch is Graham Cruyff. He has had a chance to race in almost every facet of off-road racing and enduros, but it's the rocks that really fit his riding style. Number 4 for him. Lenny Bagwitz got the job done for the Titans squad. Titans had a small fielding this time around, but Lenny waved the flag nicely for the Titans boys, getting a number 3 spot this time around. Probably surprising himself, but just shows what you can do with commitment. Liam Elkington. It's a name that we've been watching for the last couple of seasons. One of the tall riders out there, and when the terrain fits his riding style, he's able to flow. A demon on the downhills, good enough on the ascents as well. 2 spot for him. And then J-Dog. Watch out. This is the J-Dog Championship that we are watching right now. The famous number 400 was unstoppable. Didn't pull the whole shot, but he pulled big time gaps out of everyone on the laps and saw the checkers. Jordan Cowley, the win in high schools.
Graham, how's your race going?
Hey, lucky you, man.
Well, thanks.
Well, thanks.
Taking a bit of a breather in the queue.
Yeah, gotta wait to turn. Cheers, man, thanks.
Enjoy the race. Hoe gaan hy?
Ja, raai so.
Nee, mooi.
Lekker man. Lekker glad. Ja,
Voel die arms.
baie lekker, baie seer. Maar baie lekker. Thanks, hoor.
Lekker mooi hierso.
Ja, baie.
Geniet er verskriklik baie.
Baie lekker, julle hoor.
Fun up on the mountains, and in the lowlands you do get to recover a little bit. Exposed on those hills as well. And as the day went on, it was getting hotter and hotter. The Pro Bs were picking up the pace as the temperatures started to climb as well. Sean Dupria cracking his way inside of a top 10 and getting the numbers going. Quinton Groby getting it up inside of a number 9. But remember, the Pro Bs are very, very fast riders. All of them breaking inside the top 10, ran similar lap times as well. Leonard Oosthuizen getting it up there. He was trying to do the chase down on Leonard de Toy. Those guys were very close in the early laps, and then a gap started to open up. With de Toy, he's got that beautiful style as well. He's very fast in the lowlands and extremely quick and aggressive on the climbs. Got stalled up a couple of times, but for the most part, he got the wheels rolling. 7th place for Leonard. Andre Besson, another rider that we've seen in the early part of his career, very much focused on the flatland GXCC styles of racing, and then he started to break his way 2 seasons back into the world of enduros. Number 6 ride for him. Carl Gibson smashing and rock and rolling his way through. The 774 has a wild style, sometimes pays the price for it though. Werner Rall, number 4 spot for Werner, a motocross crossover. We know his brother extremely well for smashing wins in the GXCCs. Werner, motocross for the last couple of seasons, and at the opening round got a front tire puncher on lap number 1, He finished the entire race this time around and was credited with a number 4 finish. Good job for Werner. Reinhard Otto, the first of the magic numbers inside of a top 3. He had a good run on laps 1 and 2 and then started to just build and get that confidence going. The track definitely dried out, and if you could survive laps 1 and 2, that was where you're going to be able to bring home the bacon. Dylan Bauer on the 611. Also, he's got that lovely, efficient riding style, gets the elbows nice and high. Himself and Otto were duking it out in the early laps, and eventually you've got to lose a friend on the mountains, and that's where all of the big breaks happened. Dylan Bauer on the final lap pulled the pin up on the hill and got his nose out front to be able to credit himself with a number 2 ride. It is a big one to get a win in the Pro Bs at the moment. The lap times these guys run are so similar to the Pro Elites right now. Some of them could definitely hustle their way inside of the top 10, but for Pro Bs, it is Rikke Stewart who gets it going. He had a very good run the whole way through the day. No mistakes, no issues. Got the hydration package going and his fueling strategy, and gets the tag as the winner in the Pro Bs at Heidelberg. Into the Pro Elites then, and this guy is one to watch. He had a much better run of it at round number 1, but had some issues here at round number 2. Paul Krobler only getting a number 10 spot, but remember, with a short championship, you cannot be dropping any of those points. It is extremely tight for these numbers. Matthew Berger and Aldo Lowe. These guys on the Shercos were teaming up in the early laps, and they ran similar lap times the whole way through. Berger getting a number 9 ride, the tall kid, and then Aldo Lowe getting the job done on the 622, getting himself up into 8th place. They were chasing down on the 3rd of the factory Shercos, and that's Dwayne Clanhams. Remember, Dwayno, a former multiple EWXC champion in his comeback season. Really had to fight back from some big injuries the last couple of years. So comeback trail is where he's at. Number 7 is where he finished. He was chasing down in the early laps with Garvey. Garvey, though, started to extend. Dwayno had his issues on the day, dropping back to a number 7. Austin Stewart, he had a really good ride at the opening round as well. Finished a little bit higher than he did at this round. Stewart, though, is going to be a championship player. 6th place, puts points on the plate. Will keep him in the championship hunt to try and go inside of the top 5 come the end of the season. Anthony Arbranser, he is one to watch for the future. This is really his breakout season in the Pro Elites, riding out of the Roost KTM squad. He's still finding his feet and trying to decide what pace he wants to run, whether he wants to go out with the big guys or build from there. Arbranser inside of number 5. And then Armand Fari, who was tagged on the Raceworks KTM as a pre-event favorite based on how well he ran here at the end of last year. He was in the dice for the lead on lap number 1. Lap number 2, smashed up his rear brake, had to run almost the entire lap with no back brake. He could only end up finishing in a 4 spot, but his pace showed that he should have run higher. Garvey, similar situation, got a little bit lost at the end of lap number 1 and lost the back wheel of the front 2. Then, for the second half of the race, was in no man's land. Garvey, though, inside of a top 3 and always bringing home podium finishes. Ryan Sequeira had to do a big fight back. He got blocked up on lap number 2. Lap number 3 was the fastest man on track, and he had the elbows up for the final 2 laps, but he couldn't catch up to the race leader. But the former Pro Elite champion from last year was good enough for a 2 spot, and that's a good confidence booster for the rest of the championship for Sequeira. There was just no catching Heinrich Aust, though. When he pulled the pin on lap number 2, he ended that lap with a 4-minute advantage. There was a little bit of toing and froing for the rest of the race, but basically laps 2, 3, 4, and 5 were the Heinrich Aust show, where he hammered the nail and now stands at the top of the charts as the Pro Elite points leader heading into round number 3. Heinrich, I'm not going to say you made it look easy, but that second lap is where you dropped the hammer. But it looks like lap 3 you went down, eh? Tell me about it.
Yeah, no, I saw the first lap, the O's were trying to stick on, and we just rode as a group, and I saw lap 2, I need to put the hammer down. So that's exactly what I did, and we had fun. It was tempting, it was nice, it was hard, and yeah, it was a fun event. Well done to EWXC for their route, it was fun.
Were you testing your fitness to try and see how hard you could push and how long you could push? Because it looked like you tried to just see where your limits were today.
Yeah, we're always testing the fitness, always. Yeah, thanks to these X-Brand goggles with a roll-off system for keeping the mud out of my eyes. They work amazing. Shot.
Roll on to the Nationals, eh?
Yeah, flat out.
Confirmation then of Heinrich at the top, and that does confirm that he is the points leader on the series as well. Sequeira building nicely in the championship, 2-spot for him ahead of Garvey. And then in the Pro Bs, Ricker Swat ahead of Bauer Otto. Rawl, his best finish of the championship so far, in 4th ahead of Gibson. In the high schools, J-Dog Cowley on top. He is going to be a player in this championship. Alkinton, Bagwitz, Greef and Battersby, the squeakers, inside of a top 5. Ronald Fenter goes 2 for 2 on the championship, beating out this time Whitey Oosthuizen. Pedersen, Barwell, great to see him back, and Vinny. And then in the Masters, Ivan Roux also 2 for 2 on the season. Outright points leader ahead of Rowan van der Westhuizen, Kirky, Abramse and Horlacher. Race 1 done. Race 2 in the queue. The temperatures came up, the sky went blue, and we were good to go. All the mud that was up on the mountains had been dragged up there, but for the most part was drying out. The lowlands were still a little bit moist though, as everyone went out the cliff that is the start line queue. A good mix of the afternoon race saw the Pro Minis getting the job done, as well as a mixture of the rest of the categories. The second race gave us our biggest entry of the day. Remember, EWXC doing extremely well in 2021 in their comeback season as well, after having to recover from 2020. So far, the average entries coming out of 2 rounds, over 225 riders per event. That's good numbers on the page. The ladies' A's just gave us 2 entries this time around. Leandra Williams getting the job done on the L19, chasing down on Catherine Mostert. Mostert is really strong in this format and this kind of terrain. She just lets it come to her the whole way through. Pro Minis also went out onto the big loop and they battled for traction but got it done. Clarkey inside of a number 6, that's David Clark, and Josh Monroe dominating inside of a top 5. The Monroe's good on this gate. James Fox walked away with a number 4, trying to chase down on Danny Monroe. Daniel Monroe, the top Monroe, inside of a number 3. Gabriel Dutoy gets it done in a number 2 spot, but it was Matt Stevens that hammered the nail once again and is once again the kid to beat on the Pro Minis. Remember, the Pro Minis do the exact same lap that the Pro Elites do. Less traction, less power, and much smaller bodies often need a helping hand.
He doesn't understand slow.
Gaan jy reis?
Ja, so ver ons baie gewag gery.
Is dit?
Ja, baie mense vol kribbers, maar nat, vader.
Remember, on the second race, it's about learning the lap on race 1, surviving lap 2, and toughing it out on lap number 3. The club class is a big gate as well, so top 10ing it this time. There's going to be a mixed bag and mixed pace the whole way through. Leon Horn got it done inside of a number 10 as he rocked his way inside, chasing down on Rogan Wilson, who walked away with the number 9 spot. Andre Skierpers was there, Simon Wilkinson, and Baron Bierselaar getting hooked up on the pipe on the big climb. Jean-Marc Cilliers looks way too factory to be out there racing in the club class. Walks away with number 5 as he gets ready to go pro for next season. Liam Kraus inside of number 4, chasing down on Nicholas Barrier. Barrier walking away with a 3 spot on the day. Mark Newman was good enough for a number 2 spot, but there's one kid out there doing his best Luke Walker impression as the top Yamaha and winning out on the gate. Alec Van Niekerk gets the club win.
Enjoying it?
Loving it. It's technical, but that's why we're here.
Awesome.
Thanks.
See you at the end.
The heat out at Heidelberg by this stage was cranking into the mid to high 30s as we walked into the Silver B class. Top 10ing it this time around, Eric Van Skierver, even though he got locked up on some of the climbs, still kept it rolling. Tane Norton was up there inside of a number 9, then Luke Pollock getting it done for number 8. Our camera crew getting up close and personal on the climbs, watching these guys at the tough moments. Josh Nixon has been watching all the Graham Jarvis videos out there. Momentum is your friend.
That's the reason why.
How's your race going?
Hey, forearm pump is killing, bro.
Sure.
But it's lacquer, it's beautiful out here.
How many laps?
Just 2. Still an amateur.
Enjoy.
Thanks, bro.
If you ever get a chance, head out to the 4x4 Club at Heidelberg. You'll know exactly what these guys have gone through. Sean Johnson just up the road in 6th place, chasing down on Shapiro. Shapiro, good numbers on the page for him once again. Johan Clark up the road in 4th. Then Danny Rass getting a number 3 spot. And Alru van der Westhuizen for the Vans Racing Husky squad. 2 spot for him. His best ride of the season so far on the E25. Up the road, one winner in the class, the Silver Bees. Luke Gavea, unstoppable on the 402. Silver A's, the pace gets faster. And the times get a little bit closer as well between all the riders. Top 10 this time around for AJ Putter, getting it done, staying out of traffic. But remember, they had a slightly longer day. They were out there for more laps than the rest of the guys on the second race of the day. Marius Poisson getting it up the road inside of a number 9 spot, chasing down onto the back wheel of Craig Lovell on the 185. Good mix of lowland and uppers as well. Sees Idris Lubber chasing down on Jared Foster, but as you can see in the lowlands, there's a clay base to the dirt here at Heidelberg, and often the guys just cannot find that footing. Ruben LaRue inside of a top number 5, and he shows that you've got to carry all that momentum and keep the wheels turning. Brad Norkier on the C822 has learned his lessons. The more experience you have out at Heidelberg, the better your day is going to run as well. Byron Williams was up the road chasing the sweet numbers inside of a top 3. Carl Lombard on a 280 was up the road as well. But they were all chasing down on the back wheel of the man that is near on unstoppable on this gate. Lombard did a great job of it, but he couldn't get onto the numbers of Johnny Edwards. Jonathan Edwards has been a revelation on this gate for the last couple of seasons, and once again looks like the man to beat for the championship. Let's confirm the results then from the second race out at Heidelberg. Silver A's, Johnny Edwards on top ahead of Lombard, Williams, Norkier and LaRue. Foster just one position off the podium inside of a number 6. Silver Bees, Luke Gavea hammering the nail. Alru van der Westhuizen, a standout ride in the number 2 spot ahead of Rass, Clark and Shapiro. Shapiro bringing home the bacon every single round so far. In the clubbies, Vanny Kirk gets it ahead of Newman, Verrier, Kraus and Cilliers. That was the sweet spot inside the top 5 for our clubbies, our biggest entry on the day. And then the Pro Minis, Matt Stevens is the kid to beat on the Pro Minis ahead of Gabe DeToy, Monroe, Fox, Monroe and Clarkey in the Silver A's, about Catherine Mostert once again. Last race of the day is our junior gate. They've got their very own track to go out and play around on, and it was super tech. Out the gate then, everyone was going to be going out to see how they could run in the short loop, but it was challenging, especially when you talk about the fact that these are 85 and 65cc machines with very little suspension and very little traction. Heidelberg is a tough terrain for all these little dudes and dudettes. Flatlands to get yourself used to how things are going to go, but there were a couple of stings in the tail and some rocky descents to deal with. In the ladies' B's, all about Michaela Lombard. She was rocking the little Kawasaki to a good finish inside of a number 4 ride. Charlene Hugo was getting it done inside of a number 3. She was on one of the bigger machines, but still went out on the junior class running in the ladies' B's. Kendra Lewis Monto battled with the terrain, but still brought it home inside of a number 2 spot. And Jessica Van Romsen was looking every bit the pro as she did the big descents with ease and hammered the field for the ladies B win. Fast and flowing for the most part, but I'll tell you what, the technical areas really challenged the girls out there. On the 65cc's, this was one of the more tech zones. You could see the 65cc's almost bellying out as they dropped off the steps. Alonso Foster getting it done inside of a number 4 spot, and Alexander Compain getting that arm cramp. But as always, the marshals and moms and dads were out there for support and help and assistance. Brad Spencer inside of a number 2 spot as he smashed his way through the rocks and ticked off the laps very smoothly on the E303. But it was Caden Schrouder once again who got it done. Caden, riding out of the Titans Enduro squad, hammered the nail from lap number 1, did all of his homework, checked out the sweet lines, and from then on, just kept it flowing. The big gate for the juniors was the 85cc's. Junior Oosthuizen, who really battled, snapping his clutch lever in lap number 1, but survived out there for a number 10 ride. Rowan Kruger walked away with the first of the single digits as he dropped down the rocks. This was on lap number 1. The pace definitely picked up as the race went on though. A whole shot for Declan Flynn on the C216, but he had problems at the end of loop number 1 and struggled to recover after that, eventually dropping down to a number 8 finish come the end of the day. The big loss of time for Declan was a fallover where he really battled to get his bike started. But thankfully, there's a helpful cameraman out there every now and again just to help you on your way.
Don't panic. There's plenty of racing to go.
Remember, these kids are, for the most part, on the loops, unassisted. And if they battle, they do need a helping hand. Sean Katsavis didn't need any help on his run. He walked away with a very smooth number 7 ride come the end of play on the day. Even though he did try and take out a couple of our camera crew along the way, he still managed to get himself up there without any injuries and keep the hammer down. Oh, almost made the same mistake though, 2 laps in a row. He'll figure it out. Fresh numbers on the E110 of Noah Lewis Monto. Broke out a freshy machine for this time. Gotta love those factory fresh, out the box KTM's, beautiful. Inside of the sweet spot then for the top number 5, C12, Zach Duvenage getting the job done. And he ticked off very consistent laps throughout the day. Miguel Kavanagh was a joy to watch out there. He's got that beautiful riding style. Not too attacking, not too aggressive, but stands nice and high and gets the bike dancing. One of our riders who was late to the gate for the starting lap, but still walked away with a number 3 ride come the end of the day, was Enzo Kuhn. He is definitely a championship rider and a rider to watch. He'll bring home a top 3 every single time. 262 of Tyrone Monroe was the second fastest rider. Remember, the Monroes come out in force for these events, and they know Heidelberg like the back of their hands. So we always expect them to be dicing it out. But which Monroe will it be? Tyrone Monroe walking away with the 2 spots, so it's the number 4 of Tristan Monroe. He tagged the most laps out of anyone. He had the fastest lap time across all of the laps that they were out there for the 3rd race of the day. And Tristan Monroe on the number 4 machine is the kid to beat in this championship on the 85s. Here's confirmation then of Tristan Monroe getting the job done ahead of his brother Tyrone. So the Monroes in strong form, going 1 and 2 ahead of Kuhn, Kavanagh, Duvenage and Lewis Monto. Junior 65s has Schroeder at the top of the pile for the Titan squad ahead of Spencer and Compain. And the ladies Bs was Van Rossum, Lewis Monto, Hugo and Lombard. Andre, a spectacular day from my side. Really cool tracks. The juniors were loving it. The seniors were loving it. You've got to be happy.
Absolutely. It all turned out well. It was very wet in the morning, but that dried up a bit, made the ground where there was ground a bit tacky. The rocks were a little bit of mud, but that dried up, and the Oaks, I think, have had a great route.
Yeah, it was Perla as well. Obviously, you're halfway through the championship now. Can you believe it as well?
Yeah, it's fantastic, and the support from the riders has been amazing. Thanks to Michelin as well for backing us. We really hope we're putting on a good show for everyone.
To echo the words of Andre, a spectacular round number 2 to wrap things up here at Heidelberg. This place really creates some great racing and great memories from the juniors and across all of the pro motorcycle categories. Round 1 was just a month ago. The next round is just over a month's time, and we are already at the halfway marker of the season. It is a great 2021 so far, and we cannot wait to see what the rest of the season has in store. All this Michelin EWXC Racing action from Heidelberg was brought to you by Rekopane Landscaping and Expert Mining in association with Enduro World, Titans Racing and Nucleus Mining Logistics.